What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode with me, Tyson the Trainer. Today is going to be an informative nutrition podcast because it's nutrition talks with Tyson the Trainer, as it should be sometimes. Sometimes good to go on rants, and today is going to be a rant. I'm telling you that right now. But we have got some important things that I want to dive into today that I think is really, really going to help you understand just nutrition better overall. We're going back to this good enough concept. And I just really want to dive into today's why the fuck macros don't matter, okay? Because I still need to just push this into people's heads. Because the more I can repeat the same thing, you guys probably just figure out that I just repeat the same shit again and again. And some of you are like, oh, but I've heard this before. Yeah, you fucking have heard it before. But the question is, are you actually putting it into practice? It's like when you're in math class. Oh yeah, I've heard this before. All right, well then how come you don't get it? Because sometimes repetition is the key more than anything, right? So once you're able to understand this and it's set in stone, and ideally my voice is just fucking stuck in your head telling you these things, like some of my clients say, oh yeah, your voice comes up. I'm like, that's what I want, because now we know it's clicking into place. So this whole macro side of things, right? Really want to flesh this out just because people are putting too much pressure on themselves and, classifying what is success, what is failure, blah, blah, blah. All of these things that they've just been told they have to do when it's there's no point in doing it. Again, it comes back to this good enough concept. What's good enough to get results? And why the fuck do you worry about any of the other things? And I've actually put this in my new Good Enough guidebook. If you guys are interested. If you look in the description, pretty sure it'll be in the description here. It'll say my link tree, and then you'll see the Good Enough guidebook. This is one of the principles in there where it just comes down to calories mattering most. And basically, all I'm trying to do here for you to understand is this is what is actually going to get you results. The rest of the stuff just doesn't fucking matter, and you just follow along with that, right? So we kind of think about the order of hierarchy, the importance of all this stuff. When it comes to any goal you have, maintaining, losing, gaining, slightly different, very slightly different. But for the most part, most of you want to lose or maintain weight, okay? Or just live healthily. You don't want to obsess in the gym. You don't want to be fucking obsessing about every little thing you track. You don't want to be getting to the end of the day and then hating yourself because you're like, oh, I've got 2 fat, 37 carb, and 6 protein. What am I going to have? And then you have fucking 16 rice cakes with a smidge of cottage cheese on each because that's what's going to fit your macros. Fuck, we don't want to be in that position. You don't want to be like these neurotic fucking people on Instagram or the old me. You don't want to be the old me. You just want to get results with the least amount of possible and then get on with your life, because you have so much other shit going on, right? So this is why macros and focusing on this stuff is just a waste of fucking time. Because no one has ever said in the fucking history of dieting, I wish my macro split was different. Oh yeah, I achieved this result, but if I had 5 grams extra carbs a day, if I ate more within 5 grams of macros, I would have seen so much better results. No one's fucking saying that, okay? No one, right? Because firstly, there is zero evidence showing that macro composition actually matters for body composition. Macro ratios, I should say, matters for body composition whatsoever. For sport, that depends on the sport, is different for performance. We're not here to talk about performance, we're here to talk about you just overall being healthier. Macros have no fucking play in regards to body composition. They've done plenty, it's funny? It's not even a question for researchers to do this type of study in regards to what if you have this amount of grams of fat a day versus this amount of grams. They don't do that. What do? They've done research on high carb and low carb, all right, with controlling protein in studies. They've definitely done that, and they've shown there's no significant difference on fat loss, all right? What they've actually shown is, having a good amount of protein, which we talk about, is good for muscle retention and potential muscle gain. But when it comes to losing body fat, carbohydrates and fats play no difference, okay? You want to get in the little intricacies of it, we can look at carbohydrates and people are like, oh, well, they're anabolic, they protect your muscle when you're losing weight. Well, yeah, guess what? You can do that without having to obsessively track or having to obsessively obsess about your macros, okay? So studies have been done, okay? Not to that level of degree of obsessiveness because the practicality isn't there either. The goal of helping people get leaner, get healthier, not focus on like obsess about their health, is to do the least amount of possible to elicit the results, okay? Trying to get someone to control their calories to the littlest degree is like increasing their chances of failure. Because now you have so much more rigidity. They're like, oh, well, flexible dieting, if you just follow my flexible dieting approach and you eat this amount of protein, this amount of carbs, this amount of fats, you can have whatever you want within reason. Oh, yeah, okay, sweet. And then again, you get to the end of the day, you got fucking 2 fat left, 64 carb and 3 protein. And again, it ends up being rice cakes with like, I don't know, the powdered peanut butter that I talk about at the moment with some honey. And you're like, oh yeah, that's my dinner because I went over my fats. Like someone's like, oh my God, I went 5 grams over my fats today. Like, oh fuck. And then your coach is like, oh mate, you just ruined a week of fat loss. Like, I can't believe you just did that. No one's fucking doing that, okay? Yet coaches are putting these standards on their clients. One, because, well, I'm going to make assumptions here. One, because the coach does that themselves. The coach is usually a prep coach, let's say, because at the most part, the trending thing seems to be everyone wants to go to a prep coach to look good, which makes sense. The prep coach looks good, you want to look good. But guess what? A prep coach is fucking neurotic for the most part, okay? The people who compete on stage, they're a different breed, okay? They've got that anal focus, neuroticism. And again, this is me. I just don't fucking go to that nth degree. And I've actually got something called self-awareness. Like I know it's an issue. So then I don't project that onto my clients or even myself. I work on my own behaviors, right? But these people, they're very anal about everything. Like, oh, it can't be 62 grams of rice. It has to be exactly 60 grams of rice. I'm going to take out that little grain. Oh, fuck. They need to know every little thing. They take every little thing out of the packet. Like you get a packet of, what do I say? You get bread, okay? You get bread out of a packet. You get 2 slices and it says on there, the serving size is 67 grams or whatever. And then you chuck it on a food scale just to check. And you're like, oh my God, it's 70 grams. It's not 63 grams. That means the calories are another 15. Oh, fuck. Oh, I can't believe they didn't accurately have this exactly to the gram in the fucking bread. Like, like literally, this is what fucking people do, man. And then they push it onto you. Because they have this obsessive tracking mentality, they push it onto you being a normal person, having a regular fucking job, not having the freedom of being single or having a fitfluencer as a partner and just fucking around all day, weighing and tracking all, measuring your food, going to the gym when you feel like it, playing with your dog and then sitting around like on the fucking Gold Coast beach. You don't have that, right? You have a job. You probably got a busy life. You might have a partner and kids. You're probably flat out with everything else. You don't have time to be fucking weighing and tracking every goddamn thing that goes in your mouth, okay? Now, that's not to say tracking doesn't help. I'm talking about the degree of tracking, okay? There is a line, a very fine line with people tracking. I hate when my clients get that obsessive about it, and I always push them away from it. And they're like, oh, but, what if I'm not accurate? Well, guess what? Fucking unfortunately, you're not going to be accurate anyways. I don't care how accurate you think you are, you're not going to be accurate. Because again, the ripeness of the food, the time the food was prepared, the way the food was prepared, again, the weight of the food that you may be predicting it's this and it's actually this, you're not going to get anywhere relatively close, okay? Like, you might be like, yeah, I'm tracking 1,500 calories a day. Well, guess what? There have been studies done, even with trained dietitians, I don't know why I said it that way, dietitians, they did this, same thing, track your food, measure your food, all that stuff. Even dietitians had a high degree of error rate. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was quite variable between dietitians, but even they were off. So the people who were trained in this stuff are still incorrect. So we don't need to chase 100% accuracy. Coming back to good enough. Good enough is close enough, okay? So with this side of things, firstly, in regards to tracking your macros, don't fucking track packaged foods. Okay, what do I mean by packaged foods? If you get a pack of shapes in a small one-off serving, you don't need to weigh the fucking shapes, okay? If it says rice cakes for a serving, don't weigh the rice cakes, okay? Like, Jesus Christ. Because guess what? If it happens to be a few grams off this time, next time it might be a few grams under. Because they're still averages overall. Like, if you get a whole loaf of bread and it says, again, 67 grams or whatever it is per serving, okay? This time you weigh it, it's 80 grams. Okay, oh my God, it's 80 grams. Next time you weigh it, it's 53 grams because you're getting that slice of that tiny bit of the crust at the top. It averages out to 67 grams, or give or take, let's say 70, God forbid, 3 grams extra after you eat it all. So it's like, yeah, you may have had a day where it's slightly higher, but it adjusted out. This is also why weekly averages matter more than daily account, okay? Like, someone's like, oh man, fuck, I ate 200 calories over yesterday. Should I cut 200 calories under tomorrow? No, because even if you ate 200 calories over today and then for the rest of the week you stuck to your deficit, that means instead of, let's say, being in a 3,500 calorie deficit, you're in a 3,300 calorie deficit. Are you still going to get results? Yes. Are you still going to see progress? Yes. Has anything else happened? No. Guess what happens when you try and compensate? You're most likely going to undereat one day, then potentially cause yourself to overeat the other day. You're going to make something seem more important than it actually is. It's going to make you feel like you've failed, or you've created some guilt in yourself because of one action on one day when you're not looking at the grand scheme of things, okay? Averages matter most. Stop obsessively tracking your food to that degree with the packaged stuff, right? God, please do not. If anyone's like, oh yeah, you should, because sometimes the packaging is so off. Show me anything that is so far off. The only thing someone has ever shown me that is fucking out of this, blow me away, is Cole's bakery, what are they called? Sandwich rolls, burger rolls, burger buns, whatever they're called. Like it says like the package is, it says per serving is like 68 grams. And each one's like 100 and something grams, okay? Well, yeah, all right, perfect. If anyone else wants to show me any other food that is so out of whack, please send it to me and I'll say I'm wrong, because literally there has been nothing else that's been such a huge difference that's nearly been double the amount of calories or even a third extra of the calories. Pay attention to what the serving size is in the packet. Just do it, okay? Fucking learn to be okay with not obsessively tracking. Good enough for the tracking. Secondly, macros, okay? Calories matter most. Remember, you cannot create or destroy energy. You can only transfer it, all right? Which means a certain amount of energy coming in, are you gonna transfer it out more than has come in? Are you going to transfer less than's come out and you're gonna gain weight, right? Basically, or you're gonna roughly, in and out is the same, means you're gonna maintain. Like when people are like, oh, what should I do? Like calories come first, all right? So it's like, oh, what should I do, Tice? I haven't hit my protein today. Should I go over calories? I'm like, no, stick to your calories. I had a client the other day, hey, Tice, I haven't hit my daily habits of my fruit and my veggies. Do you think it's better to go over calories or do you think it's better to eat my fruits and veggies? And I was like, okay, well, hang on. Firstly, how much extra fruits and veggies have you got to eat? And are you actually full? She's like, I'm pretty full at the moment. Well, I'm like, well, no, don't force yourself to overeat, firstly. Secondly, if your goal is a calorie deficit, while we do have daily habits, it's all about consistency again. It's like, okay, one day out of the week, you didn't get your fruit and veggie goals, but you stayed to your calories. That's okay in a deficit, all right? So calorie deficit always comes first. Whenever you have any questions, I didn't do this, but should I go over, should I go over my calories? The answer is no. No. Just don't go over, all right? After that, then comes protein, okay? We know protein, 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram body weight. You got such a range there for protein goals, right? Good range there. Like, so 1.6, let's say I'm, at the moment, 96 kilos. Let's say I'm 100 kilos. So I have 160 to 220 grams I can go for. Well, fuck, that makes life a lot easier for me to hit. You're 60 kilos, what are you? You're going to need like 1.6. I'm going to say like 100 to 100. No, yeah, it's like 100 to 125 grams of protein, 122 grams of protein. You got a good range there. So it's like, get your minimum protein in. If you get your minimum 1.6 grams and you're like, what do I do? Like, should I should I stay under my calories? Should I get protein? Stay under your calories. If you're like, oh, well, I didn't get my 2 grams per kilo. Did you get the 1.6? No, I didn't get 1.6 today. It's okay. Averages matter most. I really want to get you out of this mentality of fucking obsessing about every little thing day to day. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. If you ate 1.6 grams of protein for 80% of your week, all right, are you going to lose a huge amount of muscle mass? No. Think of it as 80-20. I want you guys to go to the good enough 80-20. Good enough 80-20, all right? 80% of your week, which is, let's just say 6 days, okay? Ideally, 5.5 to 6 days, you want to be fucking on point. And when I say on point, ticking off your daily habits, which I talk about, getting enough protein and stuff like that. This is what all we want to be focusing on. We're not chasing perfection here. We're just chasing the good enough. So then when it comes to carbs and fats, all right, the reason we don't need to worry about tracking this at all is, like I said, no one's ever said, I wish I ate within 5 grams of my carbs or my fats because I would have got better results. No one's ever fucking said that. No one's ever going to say that because it's not going to make a difference for 99.9% of us. Even like someone, because I made a post about this the other day and I was like, again, no one's complaining about that. Secondly, you're never going to be as accurate as you want to be. Thirdly, there's no reason to get that obsessive because it's not going to make or break a difference. Like if you ate, let's say you had a calorie intake of 2,000 calories, all right? You hit your protein goal and then you were given a carb target of 250 grams and a fat target of 60 grams. And you had to eat within 5 grams of them. You do that all for this week, all right? Then you change it up next week and you add 10 grams of extra fat and you drop 20 grams of carbohydrates. Then you track all your progress again next week. What's going to happen body composition wise? Nothing, okay? The only difference, the only potential difference is because you've dropped some carbohydrates, you've dropped water weight, which is not fat loss. So don't fucking go dropping your carbohydrates, all right? I'm telling you right now, do not fucking do that. You drop a little bit of water weight, potentially if you drop some carbohydrates. Does that actually mean you made any more progress? No, it doesn't actually, right? Because again, the scale, you want to manipulate the scale? Go drink a liter of water, then get back on it. Oh, well, that fucked you up, didn't it? So it's not going to dictate any progress. So is it going to dictate any results with those little changes? No, okay? And the good thing is, this actually gives you more flexibility and less rigidity. And people who feel less restricted, guess what? Stick to things better. It's like when people are like, oh, I'm going to cut out chocolate for a month. Okay, cool. Yep, so I did it for a month. Sweet, now what are you going to do? Oh, I binge chocolate. Ha ha ha. It's like, oh, well, what the fuck did you cut chocolate out for in the first place? Because you clearly didn't build a good relationship with food if you just binged the chocolate that you cut out. Wouldn't it be better to have something that you can enjoy a little bit every single day that no longer has control over you? Because one way that we actually reduce food control over ourselves is to make it a regular thing. There's a reason you're not craving certain foods because you have them every day. People who are like, I can't keep Biscoff in the house because I binge eat it. Go buy 10 fucking bottles of Biscoff. 10 jars of Biscoff. I guarantee you, you're not getting a jar over 10 days. All right? And if you did, message me and tell me because I'll be fucking very shook about that. You'll probably binge eat it one day, let's say. You might do it the second day. Then you're going to feel pretty fucking sick about it. The third day, you're probably going to have one or two. Later on in the day, you have another mouthful and you're like, oh, it's actually okay. And then, all of a sudden, you've got control over it because that's exposure therapy, okay? It's actually how people overcome fear, by exposing themselves. And again, if you buy 10 jars at once, every day, you're like, oh, well, I've got plenty here. I'm not going to run out. You're teaching yourself that. My client went on a cruise a few months ago and like 2 weeks ago. So she went on a cruise 2 weeks ago and she's like, Tyson, the buffet's there, it's going to be there all the time. And I was like, yeah. She goes, it's such a big selection of food. I was like, I know, right? And I was like, here's the cool thing. You're going to be on a cruise for 10 days. The buffet is going to be there every single day. So when you go there and you look at all the stuff that you want to try, just pick 1 or 2 things you want to try and then remind yourself that you can try something tomorrow. And then remind yourself that you can try something the next day. Because it's always going to be there for the next 10 days. And you have 10 days to try all that stuff you want to try. Guess what happened? She was fucking so successful at it during that time. The buffet was there every day, but she literally, this is your, like we have different parts of the brain, right? You have the emotional bit of the brain, which is the limbic system, which causes fear, anxiety, anger, things like that. And then you have the frontal cortex, which is the thinking brain, okay? The thinking brain can impact the feeling brain. Okay? Because you can get anxiety, you can get things just randomly, right? If you logically talk to yourself, cognitive behavioral therapy, if you've heard of it, you can train your thinking brain to actually stress less, okay? Like you teach yourself logically, you talk to yourself in your head. So for her, reminding herself, I know I want to have this food, I'm getting anxious, I'm going to want to have more, but I can come back tomorrow and I can have something that I want to enjoy then. You talk to yourself like that and you train yourself and you remind yourself, I can have this tomorrow. This is no shortages. I'm just going to be able to, I'm going to have this amount today and I'm going to give myself some more tomorrow. You actually remove the power of that food and that stress and anxiety. Okay? So coming back to, now I've got to retrain myself, my client having that. talking to you guys about macros and obsessing. Oh yeah, things like, less rigidity. Again, not cutting out certain food groups, not cutting out things, and you have more flexibility. You're more likely to stay on track, okay? Because it's like, oh, hey, here's a range that you can have, all right? We're not just going to restrict to this certain amount, because again, you restrict something for too long, you're going to come back and you binge eat. There is a reason I couldn't, like my orthorexia was fucking ruining my life. I'd be strict for a week, no, nothing. Like it was very clean, blah, blah, blah. Then what would I do on a Saturday? Oh, I'm just gonna go food shopping. I'd go and binge, tell myself I'm never gonna do it again, never cut that food, the same pattern all the fucking time. Be upset with myself, tell myself I wouldn't do it again, go back to being strict. Oh my God. Guess what happened when I let all that food back into my life every day? I gained weight. Guess also else what happened? I fixed my relationship with food. Just because I expose myself to it, okay? And you can do that when you are dieting, when you're at maintenance, whatever. You just have that freedom. This is why we just do calories and protein. Now, I used to say, oh, there's a minimum fat intake you've got to aim for. The reason I don't recommend you try and aim for a minimum fat intake anymore is because you're most likely going to get fat in your diet anyways. I see a lot of you fucking post about your Biscoff, your peanut butter, all that type of shit, right? You're going to get fats in there. You have cuts of meat. If you get a slightly fattier cut of meat, that's going to have fat in there. You eat avocado, fantastic. You're eating nuts, great. If you're having your Biscoff and you're having your peanut butter and you're having a bit of Nutella, I'm being less of a cunt now, okay? Like, I obviously want people to make good choices with their healthy fats, choosing mono and polyunsaturated fats, but if you're still going to eat your little Biscoff bullshit and stuff like that, guess what? It's all going to add up. You're going to have some healthy fats in your diet. You're going to hit that minimum. No one's eating under 20 grams a day, I hope. I really hope. And this is why, again, having that flexibility, some days you're going to have higher fats, some days you're going to have lower fats. Fantastic. If you want to aim for a fat goal, just aim for 0.6 grams per kilogram body weight, okay? So get your body weight, half it, add on a little bit, and you're sweet, all right? So for me, let's say 100 kilos, half it, 50, add on a bit more. Let's just go 60. That's the minimum. How do I get 60 grams of fat within my day? Salmon. I don't have salmon every day, but that works. Fattier cuts of meat, just trace amounts of food because I eat so much food. I use peanut butter too. What else do I have for my healthy fats? I have nuts. I don't eat a lot of avocado. When I get tuna and stuff, I get that in the oils and stuff. So that's how I get mine, all right? Like, fats add up very easily, actually. And I get it from fish oil too that I take. So, all these things add up. I know I'm hitting my fat intake. There's never a day where I'm like, wow, my fat, man, I didn't even get 20 grams a day. Because fat just makes food taste good too. Like, try eat a low-fat diet and you're going to fucking feel like you're eating cardboard all the time. Like, it's shit. So that's an easy way to, for you to have that balance. Someday you might want more fat, someday you might want less fats. It doesn't fucking matter because we go back to calories and protein, all right? And trust me, having this flexibility just takes away that pass and that fail mentality. What are you going to fail with? How do you fail if you've got no macro targets except for a minimum protein goal, all right? And again, if you miss out on a day, you didn't fail. Look at the week. All right. And if you didn't do it in the week, you didn't fail. All right. Stop having this mentality of like, oh, I failed my week. Like, fuck me dead, man. Imagine having a shit week at work. I mean, like, I'm quitting work. Oh, I had a shit week at work. Fuck, I'm failing my work job. Hey, boss, I'm not going to rock up anymore. I just had a fail week. You're like, what are you fucking talking about? You wouldn't do that. Same thing with you. You just learn from last week and you keep moving forwards. All right. So stop being so obsessive with your macros. I'm just reading this off to make sure I cover everything. Stop being so obsessed with your macros. Stop being so obsessed with tracking packaged foods and weighing everything to the nth degree and the exact gram. That's also, I want you to suddenly start practicing. For those of you who are weighing and measuring food, your goal shouldn't be to weigh and measure forever. Fuck me dead, it should not be weigh and measure forever. Learn to guesstimate, okay? Before you put something on the scale, guesstimate how much it'll weigh. Then put it on there. Are you getting close? The better you get at guesstimating, the better you're going to be at guesstimating. That's really all it is. But like, the less you have to rely on a scale. Because especially when you're not dieting, eating things within a 10% error rate, you're going to be fine. Like, your body, and remember, maintenance is not like, this is the amount of calories you need to have to maintain. Your maintenance moves a little bit. It's got a bit of a range there. Okay? And when you're guesstimating, some days you'll underestimate, some days you'll overestimate. The averages line up. So really start to do that. Oh, this is a great topic. I've got to make another video for my client for this because I forgot about this stuff. Like, make it a game, man. You know, learn and then start to eyeball. Like, what does 100 grams of chicken actually look like? You know, these things, the more you practice it, the better you get. You can even fucking guesstimate a diet. Like, when I go to diet next, which I don't know when I'll actually diet, but let's just say I'm going to diet. Like, what am I going to do? Am I going to track? No, actually, I'm not. Why? Because I just know if I look at a meal or I can like put things together, I can guesstimate a meal, right? So let's say I'm guesstimating and my maintenance is very high. So I do have obviously a better opportunity here. My maintenance, like let's say it's 4,600 give or take at the moment. So I've only got to eat 4,000 calories a day. Only got to eat. I know. So I'm eating 4,000 calories a day, right? Well, I can basically still choose whatever the fuck I want to eat, right? However, what am I going to do? Exactly what I recommend to other people. Low calorie food, higher volume, fruits and veggies, whole grains, protein. Every meal I can guesstimate something between 600 to 800 calories, okay? What is that going to look like? Well, I'll make sure I have a good source of carbohydrates there, which will be potatoes or rice or something like that. I'm going to estimate about, 2 fistfuls of veggies, which will be about like 60 calories. Then I'm going to be looking at my protein source, which is going to be lean protein. For me, I know what 150 grams of protein looks like just on the plate. So it's very easy for me to mentally calculate these things. And I could deficit the whole way down and lose about, 10 kilos, I would say, before I have to start tracking. Okay? Because I just reduced because I've tracked for so long in the past that I can look at something now and just absolutely know it, So this is what we want to be moving towards at the end of the day. And something else to also consider is how are there people that have lost weight without tracking? It's like we forget that fucking there's 100 other ways that you could lose weight. People do intermittent fasting, people do keto, people just do portion sizes. Man, I've had clients like bigger boys and females. We've just changed. Stop drinking 2 liters of soda a day. Fuck, why am I saying soda? 2 liters of soft drink a day. Oh, Tice, I've lost 4 kilos. Yeah, man. Like, things add up, right? So, you can also lose weight without tracking. But I know a lot of you are in the method of tracking. So just learn to be less obsessive with tracking overall. And that'll help you be more successful. Now, what else have I been trying to think of here? So not obsessing about your macros. What else was I going to say about that? Macros, I'm having a mind blank. Oh, calorie ranges is what I want to finish up on here, okay? So even though I said calories are most important, right? People get stuck up in this exact calorie deficit amount. I'm supposed to be eating, 2,363 calories a day. Like, what the fuck, man? Do you think your body is just going to be like, oh, it's 2,365, let's say, or it's 2,300 and let's say 70, that like all of a sudden you're not in a fucking deficit? We have to take a step back from this obsessive, rigid approach of this exact thing, okay? This is why I've also started giving my clients more ranges. So before in the past, I've been like, all right, here's your calorie target because we're trying to aim for 0.5% of your weight a week. The thing that this does is it gives people this is the criteria, this is the pass and fail, this is what's going to be happening. And it's like, oh wait, hang on, I don't want to do that anymore because people were so black and white with mentality. Plus, some people are not going to be, they lose their hunger signal when they know what these calories are. So this is why I now give my clients range, okay? Like, I will look at their weight and, how much, I give them a range between losing 0.5% of their body weight a week up to 1% of their body weight a week. So let's say you are 70 kilos, okay? So you can lose, I would say, between 350 grams to 700 grams a week. Great, we have a good range there. 350 to 700 grams, plenty. So now we look at the calories that would be in. Let's say your maintenance is 2,500 calories, okay? For you to lose 350 grams a week, you're going to be in about a 400-ish calorie deficit. For you to lose about 700 grams a week, you're going to be at about an 800-ish calorie deficit. So basically, you can go between a 400 calorie deficit up to an 800 calorie deficit a day, based on your hunger, okay? So now this is what I think I want a lot of you to start thinking about. So you have your calorie range, okay? Monday, you're hungry. You eat just your 400 calorie deficit. Tuesday, you've been busy, you're flat out, like fucking things have been hectic. You get home, you've hit your protein, you've eaten fruits or veggies, but you still have like 800 calories left over. And you're like, oh man, it's like fucking 9 o'clock at night. Sweet. Leave it at that, okay? Wednesday, maybe it's a 600 calorie deficit. Thursday, you go out for dinner, so it's only a 400 calorie deficit. Friday, it's a chill one. You're not doing anything. You're being boring. You're not that hungry again. It's a 700 calorie deficit. And then we just go, like, each day is a little bit different, but all up, you're in a calorie deficit, okay? You're in a calorie deficit of, let's say, on average, 600 calories this week. Well, guess what? You're going to lose about 500 grams. Sweet. Happy days there, right? You probably lose about 550 grams. The next week, maybe you're in a 500 calorie deficit. So you're still going to lose. You're still going to lose about 400 grams. The next week after that, you're in an 800 calorie deficit. So you lose 1% of your body weight a week. All right? This is the range you want to go for. You give yourself that range. You have freedom. You learn to fucking be in tune with your hunger. This is where people ruin themselves because they're like, well, I'm full, but I have to eat this amount of extra calories. Like, no, you don't, okay? Learn to be in tune with your hunger signals. And again, when you have this range, people don't like that they have so much freedom, but like, this is what it should be like. It's the same thing like when I give clients maintenance and like the amount of people that are like, oh, I've never really been able to stick to maintenance because I don't have a goal. And I'm like, so you're telling me that for the rest of your life, you're just going to yo-yo diet because you don't know how to eat just for health within a range that gives you more food freedom. You just have to tick some daily boxes. And you don't want to maintain your weight is basically what you're telling me. You're either going to blow out of the water or you're going to, and then going to have to diet again because you just can't eat regularly because you don't have a goal of dieting. Is that correct? Like, I don't understand that because we have still restraints, okay? But we have freedom within those restraints. And then it's just learning to eat like a fucking normal person. Eat on hunger cues, have variety of food. Follow the 80-20 approach. You are then not dictating what failure and success is because you have so much more freedom. You have so much more freedom with these ranges. So I really want you guys to start applying this, right? Like, I give this fucking information out free. If you want my coaching, send me a message. We can talk about the coaching. I'm booking calls before I go away. So if you want to do the coaching, it's fine. Just send me a DM and we can talk more about this, about how you can get this flexibility. But otherwise, just follow what I say. A calorie range, a protein range, macro range, you're good to go. Like, now you have more freedom. You obviously know what I talk about. Eat like a fucking adult. Eat the 80-20 approach. Eat your fruits and veggies, whole grains, dairy, get enough fiber, plenty of protein, and then you're sweet. If you're in a bigger deficit today, happy days. If you're not, you're not. That's it. It's like, again, simple, right? I really want this to be as simple as possible because the simpler it is, the easier it is for you to succeed. And yes, it's that easy, all right? Like, people, the funny thing is, like, why do I give this shit away from free? That's something you should be asking. Why is Tyson giving this shit away from free? Like, do I offer my coaching? Yes. Do I offer things that I sell? Yes. But like, why do I give this away for free? Because there's no secrets. Like, the reason I give it away for free is because it's not like I'm fucking teaching another method. If you come on board with me, you don't learn, well, I should recorrect myself. You do learn extra stuff with me. It's not like, you're just like, oh, well, hey, just go listen to my podcast that are for free and then you'll get results. Like, you get accountability. You get it all in a structured format when it comes to what you need to be achieving. You get things that are going to be more specific towards you because I'm actually helping the individual. This is on a grand scale. But the principles don't change. Like, how I get someone a calorie deficit is exactly what I'm telling you now. What I give people with a protein range is exactly what I tell them to do now. Teaching people to move away from tracking their calories is exactly what I do on the other podcast. Like, it's just more personable because people need hand-holding, people need the accountability, and people do things when they pay money for it. Like, that's the big difference. And plus, it's more organized versus you having to sift through these podcasts and stuff like that. But like, you guys have heard and how I've shown on Instagram and on emails, the people that just follow my fucking free advice, the good enough advice, you get results. So it's really simple. But remember, simple is not easy. because simple is boring and simple has to be repeated again and again and again for weeks and months. I'm not promising you that you're going to lose 12 kilos in 12 weeks. I'm not promising you that you're going to get instant fucking results. I'm not promising you that you're going to step on stage and look like a fucking neurotic bodybuilder. All right? I'm not promising you those things. I'm promising you that you can get results, you can feel confident with or without clothes, like ideally look good naked and feel good naked, have a good relationship with food, and just be fucking overall healthier in your life, losing some weight just by following these simple methods that don't require a lot of time, effort, and energy. It's just consistency again and again and again, and patience. Most of you just fucking lack the patience more than anything. Tice, I didn't see my 2 kilo weight drop this week. Well, no shit. Why would you expect 2 kilos in a week? Oh, because I saw someone on Instagram. Well, there's your fucking problem. You compare yourself to someone else on Instagram who you don't know what their actual lifestyle is like, what they did, how aggressive they were, any of that stuff. You just see someone's before and after, and you're like, I want to look like that. I'm not happy that I'm not getting these results as fast because I'm fucking impatient, and now I'm going to throw it all away. That's what the issue is. Mic drop. Goodbye. See you later. Jokes. It is the end of the podcast though, and I do hope you did find it enjoyable. Again, apply this shit. Just be consistent with it. Take your time, and for fuck's sake, do not message me and say you're not seeing results if you're only taking your scale weight into account. I swear to fucking God, I will break my phone because so many people message me and complain about the fucking scale. And you guys know how much I tell you, take your measurements, look at other stuff. No one still does it. Like, it actually blows my mind away. Now I'm going to keep going. Sorry. It actually blows my mind away. Like, people are like, I don't know if I'm seeing results. Like, what, the scale? I'm like, all right, did you take your measurements? Every time I ask someone, did you take your measurements? Like a deer in headlights. I'm like, well, what the fuck do you think? Like, you're just gonna fucking use the scale. Holy shit, man. Please, 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 for the fucking love of God, don't just use the scale. Use your measurements. Because guess what? Measurements are gonna tell you a much better picture and a bigger picture than just using the fucking scale. Now I'm finished. If you guys enjoyed this podcast, please share it because I'd love for more people to find about it. And yeah, tag me if you do share it because I love seeing you guys also sharing my stuff. So until next time, my friends, I will speak to you then.